Well, you won't get a lemon from Toyota of Orange.
Wrestling buddies want to be your buddy.
Drug-free's the way to be.
What do you think you're doing?
Well, Miss Musso, we were just doing a promo.
Welcome to Home Wrestling League.
I am Penny Dreadful, joined by Drew No Gimmicks Needed Bradley and Crystal the Casual at the Unicorn Soundboard, and this is Home Wrestling League. And at least this year's Backlash wasn't as weird as 2002 Backlash. We'll get into that a little bit more. But first, I want to introduce friend of the show, Tommy No Gimmicks Needed, Extra Stout, Mahoney. Welcome. You talk about you here all the time because you are like Jew's hookup. And apparently you've been to so many shows. Okay. But let me do the four questions I like to ask people. What would be your ring name and entrance music? You just said you wouldn't really have a ring name and you just use like your name. But I think Tom Mahoney is a good like ring name. It's a good classic name.
It's like a technician.
Yeah, kind of like it's like Balls Mahoney, like the ECW wrestler. So I guess it's kind of like, you know, you just go in that like tradition, and then people would be like, oh, is he like related to Balls Mahoney? It's like, you know, so it's like, you know, maybe that kind of works. It's like homage to that.
Yeah.
Kind of like an East Coast name, like originally from the East Coast. So you can kind of like play into that, you know. So there's something there. So I think that would be kind of interesting, you know. Maybe over time, you know, you kind of like can throw a nickname on top of it. But, you know, I think to start, you would just kind of go with that.
By the way, I love that you said homage because I said homage. I see homage too. Apparently, it's literally homage, which I hate. I'm like,
homage.
French?
Yeah.
I mean,
We're not saying homage. I don't say homage. Homage.
That
sounds like something you roll.
Yes, it does. It sounds weird. I keep looking it up. I keep saying homage, and I'm like, maybe in America, but I feel like it should be homage. I'm just gonna keep saying homage.
Yeah, homage. We're gonna be French about it.
Yeah, it's fine. What's the most uncomfortable you've ever been while watching wrestling? And this could be either in person or, you know, at home.
That's a really interesting question. I mean, the most uncomfortable, it's not even like a mainstream show, or there used to be this old, so in Vegas, there used to be this wrestling federation local between like 2001 and 2005 or 6 called UWF. And they used to have a warehouse behind the Rio Hotel where they used to do their show. They used to do their shows every Friday. And they were like free because they would train wrestlers, and the main trainer was Scott Casey, who he trained Booker T. That was like his claim to fame. So they'd be like, oh, the guy who trained Booker T is training wrestlers here. It wasn't Booker T, it was the guy who trained Booker T was training. So they used to do these shows, and we went. When I say we, it was me and my girlfriend at the time, my brother, and Matty P, who Drew knows, who won the house.
Right.
Yeah, and
Matty P, man.
Yeah, and we used to go religiously every Friday. They would do a show on Friday nights from like 8 to 10, 8 to 11. The biggest name that ever came out of that was Solo Snuka, who is in the Bloodline, coincidentally. Yeah. If you look at the Bloodline chart, he's not like in the main stable, but like in the
Solo Sikoa.
Not Solo Sikoa. Solo. He was called Solo Snuka in the thing. He would play the character. His name when he was in the WWE was Deuce.
Deuce and Don.
Yeah, and infamously, he's the guy who. Yes, he's Jimmy Snuka's son, and he is Tamina's brother.
Yeah,
and he's infamously known for botching the spot in WrestleMania 25 when Undertaker jumps to hit Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels grabs the cameraman and he lands on the cameraman. He was the cameraman, and he was supposed to catch the Undertaker, and he completely botched the spot, and the Undertaker lands like right on his head. So that kind of like exited him, but it was weird because me and Matt like laughed so hard because last year when they did that that WrestleMania like pre-show thing in Vegas with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins and The Rock, where The Rock slapped Cody's face or whatever that thing happened. And
The slapping.
The Rock showed that tree with every like Samoan that ever existed in wrestling, like in the top corner, like this guy's name was there. And we were like, well, I guess he's in the bloodline. Like we saw like somebody in the bloodline, like in 2002 in this warehouse in Vegas, wrestling way pre bloodline. Anyway, he was like the only like product that came out of that place.
Mhm.
But they had like some cool, like some guys actually ended up at FCW, which is a thing in Vegas. Later on, it was actually kind of like the pre FCW, which is the big indie fed in Vegas. Anyway, try not to make this too long. They kind of like went through their first gen of wrestlers between like 2001, 2002 to like 2004, and then a bunch of guys kind of went off to, like bigger indies. And then like in 2004, they kind of got like their new class. And their new class was like all these like young kids, and there was this one kid called his name. Speaking of wrestling names, where you're wrestling, his name was like the Law, and he was like this
The
little
Law?
the Law, and his name was like this little. He was like this little like 18-year-old like whatever. And Matty P just decided to like give this guy like ungodly like heat, like, and it was like nothing. It was just like, hey man, like you got to pay your dues, like whatever. Anyway, so this kid's like parents were like there, his mom and his sister, and they like, I guess they just didn't understand that like when you're getting heat in wrestling, it's like part of the,
The
we're
show.
not like part of the show, and they got like super offended. So then because they got offended, he got offended, and they got like this other booker involved, and then he came back out, and then he got like Matt involved, and then he told Matt like, hey man, you're making this guy's family uncomfortable. And they basically told us we had to leave the show because we made this guy's family uncomfortable. So we came outside, and then this guy was like all the way down, like 25 feet away at like the end of the warehouse, and then like the family was there, and then he started to like charge us, and then they were like holding him back, and I'm like standing there being like, hold on, is this guy like worked himself into a shoot, or is this like a real like a real thing, are they like going to use this as like a gimmick, like is this like part of a thing here? Because I've seen some crazy shit in wrestling, like to understand it. It got really uncomfortable to the point where now Matt like didn't want to like come back to the show. So then they just started calling out Matt like they had like a radio show that they would do in Vegas. They started calling out Matt, and they started calling out like me, and I was like coming to the show, and it got like really uncomfortable. So then we just stopped going to the show because we're like, I don't know if this is like they're trying to like do some type of back. By the way, Matty P was like, I would have like gone into a gimmick with this guy and then totally eat the pin if you wanted to run like a 3-week storyline. Like it would have been fun and interesting, but they made it so uncomfortable that we just decided to stop going to the show.
Getting families involved is time-honored tradition.
Yeah.
It's so serious.
So that was kind of the end of us going to the UWF. But it was that was probably the most uncomfortable it had been for us.
Oh God, that'll do it. Jesus.
Yeah.
Who are your favorite wrestlers? It sounds like you have a long roster.
Not as long as you would think. I usually like gravitate towards like people in specific eras. So as a kid, I was never a Hogan person, and that actually paid off in the long run. I was a big Roddy Piper fan as a kid.
Oh yeah.
And then kind of like when he left the WWE, I really got into Scott Hall, like Razor Ramon, and then I really liked obviously Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, but then I really like Stone Cold Steve Austin just became like my favorite wrestler of all time, and then Kurt Angle was big for me, like in the Ruthless Aggression era. And then I just became a huge Cena fan, like big time. Like even when Cena was like Super Cena, and people like all the smart fans were like, "Oh, this guy's so annoying and he sucks." I was like, that's kind of why I liked him so much, because I was like, it's almost like fun to root for him because he's pissing all you guys off. And then I became a huge fan of like Roman Reigns post Shield, even like in the big dog stuff. And Drew knows that. Like I was rooting for like I was rooting for Roman Reigns when like the fans were like booing him. Like when Vince was like shoving him down like everybody's throat, like I was like rooting for him. And then like when it became trendy to like him because of the whole bloodline thing, obviously I was still rooting for him. But I was like, I was here before all you motherfuckers. Like rooting for this guy. So that's like, you know, I like I really like CM Punk. So that's kind of like my like generational like, you know, obviously, you know, I'm into Dom Mysterio now, and you know, there's just guys that like throughout the years, and then the women, you know, right now really into Io Sky, Liv Morgan, you know, those two are really good on the roster right now, but you know, the women have been really good over the past few years, so there's a lot to like there. But yeah, that's kind of like my run of favorites.
That's a good run of favorites because I guess you'll have a lot of opinions on what Cena's doing right now, huh?
Absolutely, yes.
You guys want to get into this really weird card?
Yeah, let's do it.
But you know what? I understand why, you know, business wise, you know, if I could do my, you know, I do a terrible Triple H businessman voice. I can understand why they wanted to have WrestleMania when they did, you know, Vegas said, you know, we don't get a lot of people here in Easter. Why don't you come here in Easter? Business. But it just made it too close to Backlash. Like, see, the matches themselves, I knew that they would be good because everyone would put on like a good show. It's just we didn't have enough time to really get into caring about it very much. So that's what made it feel so different than the other Backlashes. Like, it didn't feel like there was much time to have Backlash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was weird.
It's because it just happened 3 weeks prior.
Yes.
If there was, honestly feel if there's a full another week, we could most likely get into these matches.
Yeah.
And they're 5-match cards, so like by the time you get there, you're like, oh, I guess this is what we're doing.
Yeah. There's a bunch of people who are like, that shit's tomorrow? Oh, yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't had a full menstrual cycle yet.
Huh?
It hasn't been 28 days.
It did feel like a short build, but I felt like they got where they needed to get to. I wasn't like on the other side of where people were kind of like, oh,
to get to, but they ran some red lights to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but I wasn't like against, you know, what they did to get to where they needed to be.
Certainly not against. It just felt weird. It just felt like those mornings when you're, you know, late to work or late to school and you really got to rush to get there. Like you got to get there at 8:30 and you left at 8:15. You got to figure that shit out. That's what this Backlash felt like.
It's like, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Let's start the match.
Yes. And very interesting for them to start with this fatal 4-way. Which was what I thought would be like the match of the evening. I did, for the most part, find it the best match of the evening. I was like, okay, just start strong, I guess. But I figured I thought it was a little bit too strong to start with because it's Jacob Pato. I don't know.
Yeah. Like he overshadows everybody.
Yeah, I mean, the Jacob Fatu's like really come into his own here in the last like 6 weeks, where he's like the fans like adore this guy. He can't even really be a heel anymore, and it's very, you know, it's very exciting. He's really over. His aura, his mystique, it's just, he's really cool. You just look at that guy and you're like, that guy's cool. Exactly. And you put him in the ring now with like LA Knight, who I think is really stale personally. Like, I just think it's like
his gimmick or his in-ring work.
I mean, look, his in-ring work is what it's going to be. I feel like, I think the gimmick itself is really, I don't know what the gimmick is. You know, I think it's like, I don't think he self-identifies as anything. Like he's I don't know who he is. And I think that's a big problem. And I feel like Drew McIntyre who I love, is like in this weird zone between mid card and top of the card,
Yeah.
and he's not as transcendent as like obviously a John Cena or CM Punk or Roman Reigns, but he's also bigger than the guys that are in this match.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like in this weird spot. And I think
Yeah.
Damian Priest is great, like as a very solid mid card wrestler. And I really did like his world title run last year that kind of
Yeah.
put him up there.
Yeah.
But like, but just to go back to the big point, I think like Batu just really stood out from the moment he came out with his entrance to when the bell rang. And the crowd definitely showed that and reflected that. And it's like, here's a guy that seems interesting and fresh, cool. And he was just like a ball of fire the whole match. And I think that they got behind that.
He's just the Bay Area version of the Tasmanian Devil.
Right.
But that's his gimmick.
Exactly.
I guess there I'd like to present my social media isn't real point. The difference that people say with what people say online and how crowds react, because some people say they have a problem because he's presented to us as a heel, but they cheer him, he's getting pops. That's okay for someone to get cheers and pops. It's because they're doing well. They're fun to watch.
You get a reaction.
Exactly. Like we've seen plenty of times over the years where someone was supposed to be presented as a heel and we're not supposed to like and not supposed to cheer. I guess most recently with LA Knight, they had him on a losing streak, but people were responding to him. You know, I think that the anti-hero is something that has developed a lot more over the years. And it's something that people respond to more. So a lot of the classic heel like base thing is not going to work the same way it used to. So for Jacob, to put forward the idea that it's a bad thing that Jacob is getting the response that he is dumb. That is dumb.
Yeah,
they want
that.
Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And Drew's one of the best on the roster. I want him to get a one-on-one shot with Batu. I don't know if they did. Have they yet? One-on-one? Because that would be fun.
It might have been TV in the coming up of this.
Yeah.
Every time SmackDown comes on, I miss it. So like, I don't want.
It's 3 hours.
I don't think that they've done the one-on-one with Drew and Fatu, but it would be something that could be interesting down the line. But yeah, I got to see what they do here.
Like combining all the best spots they've had between these guys in the last 2 or 3 SmackDowns, which is good. It's fine. It works.
Yeah, it served the purpose. It was like the greatest hits of kind of like what these guys have been involved with the last 6 weeks. It's like you take the LA Knight Fatu stuff from WrestleMania, you take the Drew, Damian stuff from WrestleMania the last few weeks, you kind of just throw it all in the blender and you get the results here.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was like hilarious how Drew and Damian just spun off to the outside in some weird way to get them out of the match, and then they ended up kind of like in their own weird hardcore street fight
again,
like almost like a sequel to their WrestleMania match.
Tired of it, like the South of Heaven through a table. I'm not tired of it. I should be by now.
I think he got fucked up during when you
supposedly he got fucked up. Yeah, they
when you saw Drew McIntyre, he was holding his head, and you're
like,
because that's a big fall. There's another spot in that match where they all hit their finishers on each other.
Yeah,
and it's from Backlash 2007 when John Cena, Orton, Edge, and Shawn Michaels were in a match, and the way the match ends is they all hit these finishers on each other to the point where Shawn Michaels kicks John Cena in the face, and then he lands and pins somebody. But in this one, they broke up the pin, but it was an homage to that.
Yeah,
got it.
I don't remember what someone called it. I think they called it like a finisher train.
It was a good little spot. And they could get away with it here. And then, I don't know where. I mean, do we want to go to kind of how the match kind of resolved with?
Yes. Solo comes out. Brings
Yeah.
up another Pacific Islander.
It's like, hey,
Another
Maki needs a foil.
PWG,
Here he is.
another PWG guy.
Yes.
Jeff
Another,
Cobb, man.
yeah, like, and I don't know what the idea. I mean, let's go back to the solo of it all, because it's like solos is extremely entertaining.
He's gotten there.
Hmm.
First, I
And
thought he was boring as fuck, but today, he's
they've
gotten there.
created like a very entertaining character with Solo Sikoa. And if the end game, I guess, is a Solo Sikoa Jacob Fatu feud, then this gets you one step closer. But I guess is the idea that Solo is like, hey, I'm here to help you out. And Jacob eventually is like, I don't need your help.
Yeah.
I guess that would be kind of like the logical step of this feud.
Yeah. I hate you,
Do we
Solo.
need another Samoan or another person in the mix?
This one's Filipino. No, you don't.
Another Pacific
But-
Islander
Well,
in this,
that's the
right?
thing.
It's like that's
feel
my
like
biggest
you don't.
confusion of how this
Yeah.
fits, because we've kind of already, yeah. So I'd be curious to see how they do this.
It's like,
What
hey,
this means, yeah.
you know, if you every time you fire 20 wrestlers, Pacific Island wrestler gets his wings.
Right. I mean, I guess there is something funny to, like, if every time Jacob Fatu gets in a match and he's like clearly going to win the match, Solo still just shows up and interferes and helps him win. It's almost like the opposite of what he was doing with Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns would be in a pickle and Solo would interfere to get Roman Reigns out of the match. But it's like if Jacob Fatu is clearly dominating his opponent and about to just win the match anyway, and Solo still just interferes in a way to get him out of it. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's like a subversion of what he was doing with Roman Reigns. It is, and then eventually Jacob is just like, listen, dude, I don't need this help at all. Clearly I'm dominating all these people. Like, get out of my way. Like, you know, it's like, leave me alone.
That's why he looks so confused.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing here? This is my house.
Exactly. Right. It could be kind of funny if they could figure out a way to do that creatively. I don't know how the Jeff Cobbs thing figures itself into the equation, but I guess it just creates another big body in this whole world.
Yeah.
And I just I don't know where LA Knight goes from here. If this is the end of that kind of deal.
Yeah.
I think if the draft is coming up sooner, I think he's going to Raw. But he needs
a change of scenery for sure.
Yeah.
He's done pretty much everything he could on SmackDown.
That's true.
Jeff Cobb is a phenomenal wrestler too. So, like, not to take away from Jacob Fatu, but Jeff Cobb is really good. Like, he was incredible in PWG. He was incredible in Lucha Underground. He was incredible in New Japan. Like, he is that guy. Like, he is a little bit older version of Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
Or I think they might be the same age. I don't know.
I think he's got like a few years on him. I think he's in his early 40s.
Yeah, Jeff Cobb is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing that they'll work out, you know.
I think it will work if they go back, if they draw on their history, which they're, as the WWE is now is not afraid to do. They'll talk about wrestling outside as if it actually exists now. So Solo bringing in someone else and saying, hey, I don't need you anymore. I got a new toy. And someone used to beef with. What's up? So that could be interesting if they choose to go down that road. I think they will.
Right. But I am interested, as much as we started this conversation about how, you know, down I am on the guy, I am interested on the future of LA Knight.
Yeah, me too.
I would be curious. I just feel like he has a lot of potential. The gimmick kind of is a little stale, but it's almost like he needs like a new
Coat of paint.
yes, and a new scenery, but
Yeah.
you know, a new surroundings, new
Yeah.
opponents. And I would like to see kind of like where they could take that.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I am interested, and I posited this question on Threads. Because anytime someone new shows up in WWE, there is a subset of people who are like, "Who's this?" Which is fine. If you only watch WWE, that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like everyone likes pizza, right? And only watching WWE is like only ever eating pepperoni pizza. It's like the basic, and you can just go to that, and that's fine.
Mhm.
I personally don't understand why you wouldn't watch other promotions and other matches from other places. Like, why don't you ever pick up a Supreme? It makes no sense to me personally. And I thought that this was because like people like us who came up during that time when like WWE and WCW were both, you know, booked and busy, we were used to watching more than one promotion do their thing. And so maybe that's just kind of what it was. So I was like, those of you who watch WWE now, did you used to watch this back in the day? And some of them were like, yeah, I used to watch all three, or I wasn't born yet. So it's very interesting to watch kind of how this plays out. Because of course I saw Jeff Cobb because I watch AEW sometimes. And it's you don't even really have to watch the full shows of the other promotions because it's way easier to find wrestling now than it ever was before. Just go to fucking YouTube. You can find full matches of people you don't have to watch whole shows of. You don't need to watch AEW all the time to know
You can
these other
watch
people.
Rhea Ripley's matches from a decade ago in Australia now. Like it's not that hard.
It is so easy to find other like wrestling stuff. So I'm like, it's fine if you only watch one thing, but I find it very strange personally. It's weird. I don't get it. Maybe it's because I just like different kinds of pizza. Maybe that's just me.
You like Hawaiian.
I was gonna say, what's Hawaiian? What's the Hawaiian pizza?
You know
of the
what?
wrestling world?
I won't order it on purpose, but if you put it in front of me, I'll eat it.
I will order it on purpose. I'm that person at the gathering where I'm like, we need one Hawaiian, please.
Can I get a Hawaiian?
Can I get a Hawaiian pizza that nobody else
outta
wants
here.
to eat?
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'll eat it. It's fine. Whatever.
But-
it's cool. I have a large palate.
But Jeff Cobb shows up and dressed in all black. Like they're just dressed in the same shirt. Like that's how all the Bloodline guys just show up. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna be a part of the Bloodline. Let me get a really tight black t-shirt with some black pants, and this is my initiation.
Yeah.
And then here we go.
At least it wasn't the black hoodie though.
It's like goth with all the spooky stuff.
Exactly. And
Bloodline uniform.
it's the Bloodline uniform, and now this Filipino man is joining in this strong Samoan group, and Roman Reigns still ain't
almost
back for
all
work.
of which is out, anyway.
Yeah.
An injury that did he to somebody.
Well, I mean, Roman Reigns works when he wants to, but like everybody's pretty much out with injury.
Yeah, I don't count Roman anymore. He's above the bloodline now. He's just Roman. He's grown out of it.
He's evolved that. I feel like Roman's on his own plane right now.
Mm-hmm.
If the bloodline is going to exist, it's going to be kind of like in this Jacob Solo.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other two knuckleheads? Tama
Tonga and Tonga.
They'll be back. They'll be back at some point. It'll be this little like this is like the NWO Wolfpack version of the bloodline that'll kind of like exist. I don't even think the Usos had much skin in the game in this.
Oh, we did that
right now.
We did that as Survivor Series. That's
main event Jay Uso.
Right.
Main event Jay Uso is curtain jerking, but
right.
Curtain jerking for the bloodline no more.
No. So it's a different thing. But then they'll get some mileage out of this throughout the summer. I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
I think the high stock on Jacob Fatu, low stock on LA Knight for sure. We got to see what's going on with him.
Yeah.
I think Damian Priest and Drew are kind of like flat out of this match. No, nothing gained, nothing lost.
Yeah.
They're out of this match so much that
They're
they
still laying. They're still laying on that
they-
table. They're still. They're still there. Yeah, they're still there right now.
They broke down the rest of the entire arena. They're both still like
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
that. All right, you want to move on to Becky and Lyra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Match of
All
the
right.
night.
Come on.
Interesting.
Yeah. More social media isn't real. Apparently, people don't like Bird Lady online. And when I say Bird Lady, Bird Person, Bird Woman here, I mean it with love.
Mm.
You know, a lot of squanch there. People find her
Massive
boring.
amounts.
Yes. People find her boring, which is true that we haven't seen her talk much or like do much character work yet, but it is true. But the crowds always respond to her every time.
Well, I mean, these past 2 weeks,
Boom, 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 woo, they always do it.
to be honest, like,
They do. She did get a big reaction when she came out with
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
cawing
'cause
of the crowd.
that's how
It was a good
in
crowd. Let's
NXT.
give the crowd and give credit to. It was a good crowd
Yes.
in St. Louis.
Oh yeah.
It was.
Well, I mean, we'll talk
They
about
showed up.
that in the main event. They were fantastic.
Yeah.
But like she's always been good. And then these past 2 weeks, I don't know if you've seen her mic work, but she's just been flaming Becky.
Mhm.
Just like
Yes.
yeah. and-
A good old fashioned flame war.
I
Yeah.
feel like this whole feud is predicated on they really like her. Like Triple H likes her. Like there's people backstage that like her, and even Becky Lynch probably likes her. To peel back the
Yeah.
curtain, go outside of
Yeah.
kayfabe here for a second, and
Sure.
they said, can you help us get her over? Like let's
Yeah.
get this girl over.
Mhm.
and get her over at Mania, coming out, give her the big win and that tag match,
Yeah.
get in a feud with her, and then put her over on this show. And
Mhm.
they checked all those boxes have been checked in the last few weeks. Like she's continuing to move. Like, do I think she's going to win the women's world title in this calendar year? I don't know about that right now, but
Oh,
she could definitely stay in this lane with the IC title and make that important.
which is
Yeah.
great because
And that's fine because they need to bolster importance with that title and
Mhm.
not make it. I mean, I feel like the US women's title is almost like dead on arrival already on the SmackDown side.
they
Chelsea-
haven't done much with either one.
Chelsea was
Right,
trying
with-
as much as she could, but like
Right.
now this mid card women's title is the mid card women's title.
Right, like
after
if Lyra can really make some juice out of this IC title run, this title could be like the hot title, almost like
Yeah.
how the Intercontinental title was like for the men's in the '90s.
Yes.
You could make this for like the women here on the roster,
Yeah.
It's like you're getting
that-
the best match
right.
out of this
right?
title.
Yeah, like you'll be looking forward to the women's Intercontinental title match on every show that it's on.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the
Right.
problem. This Becky just gave her the best defense of that title so far, but I think it's only
Right.
the third one because I think she only defended against Ivy and Dakota.
Right,
Poor little
and then
Dakota.
and then she had the one match of Bailey that she lost, which
Right.
is still like a really good match, but it was a non-title match.
Yeah. Like you haven't
Yeah.
given her much to do in the first place.
But
I
this
mean-
this match was really good. Like Becky
Yes.
Lynch, for all the shit that she gets, is still like a top grade performer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She looks great. Like
Right.
she's like
No ring rust.
know,
None.
no ring rust. Like she's super like attractive and cool looking. Like when she comes out, like she just has like a cool
Her
look. Like
hair looks
she looks-
great. I gotta give a moment
Yeah.
to give it to her fucking hairdresser because that
Like-
red that didn't work for her. It looks beautiful. Chef's
she looks
kiss,
like
whoever you are.
she looks
Good
like a
work.
movie star. Like she just has like
Yeah.
this appeal. Like my girlfriend doesn't
Presence.
even watch wrestling. Like every time she's on TV, she's like, "Oh, she doesn't even know anything about it." She's like, "Oh, Becky Lynch, that's my favorite." And then she'll like
Mhm.
leave the room, won't even watch the match, but she's like, "That's all she'll like say about it." Like, just
She
like
looks nice.
like a casual person, just to see that like is like just an exciting person. Like,
Mhm.
but yeah,
She
she's
has
like,
my experience.
yeah, she
I
comes.
walk in and I'm like, oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
She yeah she comes to the ring and she just like does her thing, but like Lyra like has been great in this feud. I thought she was good on the mic in the couple weeks leading up, and I think Lyra like looks like her presentation, like, you know, it's kind of hokey with the wings and stuff. Like it's not like
It is,
it doesn't
but it
it
always
doesn't
looks cool.
feel it doesn't it looks cool, but it doesn't feel like of this era of this like, you know, kind of like I'm gonna come to the ring in a leather jacket or a vest or
They
kind of
would call it
myself.
cringe. Like, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
how when
it
people
feels
try and they're like, ugh, you try
yeah,
too hard, cringe,
right.
that
It
type
feels
shit.
like the wings are like something of like for you save for like a WrestleMania entrance, but you don't do it on every pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like if that's what she wants to do, fine. But she just has like a cool look, like she's, you know, and she has a great like, you know, moves set and skill set, and she's
Yeah.
quick and she looks strong. Like she has
Yeah.
like a very kind of like, you know, I hate to say it on this pod, but she has a very kind of like Chris Benoit like style, or like a Dynamite Kid kind of like style.
Redacted.
Yeah, but like almost like a Bret Hart, kind of like a Dungeon-esque kind of like
Mm-hmm.
feel to her. Like she feels like of like that kind of like training. Like it's hard hitting, it's compact,
Yeah.
it's really like
Mhm.
like strong.
Yeah.
It's a little stiff, but it like works.
Well,
It's a
to what
lot. It's like
And it
a lot
fits
of
your
roll, a
physique
lot of
too.
it's a lot of mat rolling. It's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, it's like the hits are hard. It's a lot of turnbuckle stuff. It's like, but
Mm-hmm.
it works. Like it feels very like Hart family training
Yeah.
esque.
Yeah.
You
to what
know,
you
so yeah,
Yeah, to what you say, I'm thinking about that. I think you're right in the sense that she feels like Becky. Like it's just like the offshoot because you just mentioned Redacted and then Dynamite Kid, and Dynamite Kid was saying like Chris Benoit was going to be the next person after
right,
me, and so Becky Lynch
right,
is like Lyra's going to be the next person after me.
right.
So it
Yeah,
feels
yeah,
very much in that vein.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're around from the same area, so like
right.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you can tell that she kind of takes her cues from there, but you
A
know,
lot of chain wrestling in that match too. Yeah, you are right.
Yeah. The Morgan thing that she does with the wings and the feathers and all that. I think it's just one of those gimmicky kind of story kind of things that new people tend to be given and do when they first come out. And after a certain period of time, when they're starting to develop like their character and who they are, they kind of shed that and start to come out in regular clothes. Like Becky. Becky used to
Mhm.
have a steampunk thing. Well, first they made her do a fucking jig, over at NXT. Oh, you're Irish, just be a leprechaun.
Oh man,
And
that
then
was an
they gave
amazing
her
episode.
yes. Then they gave her the steampunk thing. And then she developed, the man character and starting to do more with that. I think over time, Lyra will grow out of the fucking bird thing and start
yeah,
to
yeah, I don't
be
disagree with
more
that. I
like
wouldn't be
her.
surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised in like a year and a half, she's coming out with like a leather jacket, like a badass, like just
Yeah.
ready to, ready to get into a
Yeah.
match. Like,
Ooh, a jacket with wings on it. Ooh, I can see it.
Yeah,
sure, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
something a little more, grounded. But
Rounded. Hmm.
the presentation gets maybe like a C plus, but the wrestling presentation is like an A minus. It's like really
Yeah.
fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah.
But yeah, great match, great finish, unexpected. Like it was kind of like a
Yes.
weird,
Yeah. Kind of a
it
weird
was like,
little roll up kind of situation.
you're right, yeah, like
Yeah.
almost like selling, like it was almost, but Becky might kick out to this. They kind of
Yeah.
really kept you on your toes that like Becky was gonna maybe
Yeah.
even win this match,
Yeah. There was
like
a few
in
where
some
she was
weird
right.
way.
Sure. That it was over for
They
Lyra.
really, yeah, they
Mhm.
really kept you on your toes, giving into like this idea that like Becky is like, this like, Hogan character that's gonna like just come in here and take titles from, younger talent. And
Hmm. Which is
but
really
they really,
unfair.
right, but they really gave it to you. And like I said, like I feel like mission accomplished for like the idea that these are what talents like Becky Lynch should be doing. Becky's gonna get her time to do whatever she needs to do in the main event scene soon
Yeah.
enough, I'm sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
And she'll get into a high profile feud. But like
it's
when a
gonna be
main
her and
event,
Bailey.
Yeah.
yeah, when a main event talent like is in the middle of like those type of things, they should be doing something like this.
Yeah.
And there's no problem with that. So, kudos to her, kudos to the feud, and kudos to the idea of even doing this. So
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
I did think that Becky would win. Probably because it's a really obvious Becky Bailey story record right there. I feel like they're moving toward that. It would be great if you would just pick it up. But she's not letting go of that title without a fight. It's clear that they believe in her. Like, because Lyra Valkyria has arrived. Like, having her look at as busted as Tiffy did. And she might have broken her nose too.
Well, I mean, Lyra could take it. Tiffany was just like, when you saw that, you're just like, Jesus Christ, don't do that to her. Like,
she's already dead.
He's like, I'm okay.
And I thought they worked well together.
Turnbuckle spot.
But the beautiful,
I don't know.
Yes, classic turnbuckle spot. I love it.
Yeah, when she took off the turnbuckle and then was it Jessica Carr? She was trying to put the turnbuckle on, and then Lyra hits her finisher, and Lyra's just like, "Bitch, get over here!" And it's like, "Oh."
I love that. I've never seen a ref try to do that before.
And to look ahead, like, I really don't know what that Bailey Becky feud is gonna look like. Like, I feel like there might be twists and turns coming because we really don't know what happened. Like,
yeah,
and they could. I don't know how much. But is that like the true story of what happened? Like, I don't know how overbooked they're gonna make it. Is it gonna be as simple as like Becky just beat her up and took her out of the match, or is there more to the story than that? Like,
it's so weird that they did that storyline, and that's literally the Naomi.
It's the same. That's what I mean. It feels like it's
story.
almost too close to the same storyline as that storyline. So I don't know necessarily if that's.
Yeah, they need to get more women writers, even though they literally just fired the only woman writer at WWE this past week. But they need to get more women writers.
They need. I don't know if necessarily that storyline is what we think that storyline's going to be, and I'd be excited to see what happens when Bailey comes back.
What I think it should be, and what I and here's the other thing, I guess, with like the kayfabe stuff. I think that they're not going outside of kayfabe too much and bringing back too much of the curtain, but I do think that sometimes they do it a little awkwardly because there's been like a lot of talk outside of the ring with, their interviews. I think Bailey had the one with Chris Van Vliet and Becky had another one with the other guys where Bailey's talking about how she feels like underused and underutilized. And we always talk about the way, Bailey has been, she's a horsewoman for a reason. And she hasn't gotten the same, push and visibility that Becky and Charlotte and even now Sasha and Mercedes over there have gotten. So I think if you use that and bring that in and bring in the whole Becky, I built this whole thing. I, did WrestleMania and all that kind of bullshit. I think if you use those two and put them together, that could be a really great, like, not only throwback to what they've built to get here, but also both where they are in their careers and kind of in the larger, area of the women's division. I think that would be good stuff.
Yeah.
Just pick it up.
Yeah. I texted it in the group chat, but I was just like, this feud needs a first blood match. Because it would be so big for the women's division in the sense that they don't let women bleed. And it would, like, that match would be, like, at an all-time, like, everybody's like, who's going to bleed? Who's going to bleed? Who's going to bleed? And it would make people infinitely interested. Like,
yeah.
This is the time that you would use a first blood match. Like, normally it would be like, well, let's do Hell in the Cell. It's just like, I don't know if this has enough legs for Hell in the Cell. But, like, when everything was happening, I thought Bailey was going to come out. But since we already got our return, they don't really do multiple returns unless like Randy Orton shows up, and then something completely overshadows Randy Orton's return. It's just like, hey, Randy Orton returned. Oh, CM Punk is here. All right, awesome. Randy Orton returned. Oh, John Cena just turned heel. Okay, well, we're gonna do that.
Oh god. I feel like they did that on purpose. They telegraphed that because they announced it before, a couple weeks before when Cody's like a Viper. I mean, if it had been only us not hearing anything about it and not knowing who the fifth guy would be, and then Randy came out, it might have worked better. But I feel like they did that on purpose, knowing they were gonna have Philip come out and be like, well, it kind of works that way.
Well, with that situation, everyone knew that his contract, that 90 days, was up around that time. So if you just would have alluded to that the entire time, it would have fell flat. So they had to go and do that, even though they said they signed the deal 2 days before. It was like that was always in the works. Don't trust WWE. All right,
Right.
I've seen 6 episodes of Stephanie's Places. I know that place is full of shit.
All right. Anything else you want to say about Bird Lady and Becky before we move on?
No, they solid affair. Probably like 4 1/4 match, and excited. Like I said, I will be excited to see if they could really develop this IC women's title to be a real workhorse title for that division moving forward.
Yeah. They got work to do, but they can do it.
They do. They have work to do, but they can do it.
Yeah. I thought they would move because those were too strong. That was a pretty strong match to follow the first strong match. So I thought at this point they'd move right into Pat Gunther, kind of on that downslide. No, they wanted to give us 3 bangers right in a row.
Right.
Dom and Penta in his best Sub-Zero this evening.
Yeah.
Very blue.
Very blue.
Love the
And again, I was very wrong about Dom. I used to hate him when he was a face because I thought he was boring as shit. I thought he would never have it. I thought he would never do it. I've been choking on that crow for a while. I gotta say it every time. I was really wrong.
The last episode, I told you, like, Tommy was right next to me when Dominic came out in WrestleMania 39. I've been a fan since, like, him in that intro where it's clearly Auschwitz in the original cut, but they weren't smart enough to realize that was a fucking internment camp, or a Holocaust camp. And then he comes out of the stage in the mask, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy has just become my favorite wrestler. So shout out to Dominic. The match is good. I don't know what they're going to do with the Judgment Day, whatever. But the one thing that stuck with me in this match is some moves men can't do. So when he did the Oblivion, I'm like, only a smaller stature person can do that move.
Yes.
Like
it's probably something better for Starbucks Gable to be using.
Exactly. But shout out to Chad Gable, aka Starbucks Chad Gable, for winning the Speed title on Cinco de Mayo and pinning Dragon Lee. Fame.
They
luchador.
did that. This match was good. I mean, I'm a big Penta fan. I really like what he's been doing since he showed up. Dom goes without saying, big fan. Love this WrestleMania moment. I think that's a really underrated WrestleMania match that I could point to if you wanted me to make an argument about how that was a decent WrestleMania. And I think this was the perfect match to continue to build his credibility as an IC champion.
Yeah.
Also a match that Penta really doesn't have anything to lose here. Penta is so over. It's pretty crazy that and I don't even know what, as we're talking through these matches, we're saying, oh, I don't know what they're going to do with LA Knight, or where do these guys go from here, and they better really figure out what it's I don't even Penta he could be directionless, and I'm not even concerned he's going to be all right. It's guys like that, I feel they don't even need a title. They don't even need a major feud per se. They could just be in these matches that are going to just produce anywhere between like 3.5 to 4 stars and just be entertaining, whether they're on Raw or a pay-per-view or like you put just Penta in this Money in the Bank match next month, like probably not going to win it, but it's going to be exciting no matter what.
Yeah.
Like
you're gonna do the dance on one of those ladders.
Right. Like you put Penta like in some random SummerSlam match, like it's gonna be exciting and he'll probably lose it or whatever. Like it doesn't matter. Like Penta the guy could probably lose like every match like for the rest of the year, but like it's not gonna affect him like one bit.
He does have an aura about him. It is weird because like we talked about it, it's another PWG guy. Just seeing him without his mask at a CVS, and now, well, there's no pictures. Like, you want to do something funny? Go to him and his brother's Wikipedia pages because you'll never find out their names.
No,
like
undisclosed.
It's undisclosed. You don't know anything. Like, I think one of them has like I was born this day, but both him and Ray Phoenix, you don't know's government name.
They might not even really be brothers.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
That's the whole deal, right? With the Mexican wrestlers.
Like some Mexican wrestlers,
you don't know anything. You don't see their face. Nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of the deal.
Yeah, because there's a term I just saw. It's luchador enmascarado. Just means they're never gonna take that mask off, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and that's fine.
Well,
I like that. It's kind of interesting.
To go back to the Judgment Day of it all, like you brought up. Yeah, I don't know what the Judgment Day is. I can't say I hate it though. It serves a purpose. It's kind of like
Carlito money.
Yeah, and coincidentally, like Carlito like plays a part that works as this like foil. I wish he took a bump here. But like he does play like a comedic role that like works, like so I don't hate it. Like the stable has evolved into this weird, like weirdly comedic group, but like not like in a bad way, like almost kind of like in a charming kind of way.
Sure.
And like or sometimes like comedic or goofy stables become kind of like grating and annoying. Like I don't think there's anything annoying about the Judgment Day, which actually kind of contributes to like their longevity and why like I'm not like saying like oh they got to just break up the Judgment Day. It's kind of annoying or it's stupid. Like I'm not rushing to say that. Like I think it actually is kind of like an interesting. It's still kind of like interesting and funny, and I think actually the dynamic of the Judgment Day is even more interesting now because you would have always thought Finn Balor was kind of like the de facto leader, but now the guy with the title is not him. So that actually probably buys them a few more months of interest.
Yeah.
As this continues on.
Yeah.
Because Dom's character wanted to bring in a new member of Judgment Day, and I bet dollars to donuts it's gonna be Bronson Reed. Like I know it's just gonna be Bronson Reed. Like, I've just had a feeling ever since it happened. I'm like, oh, okay. He keeps saying it. And Bronson Reed's broke his ankle, and it's like a 6-month injury. So in the next couple weeks, I just feel like Bronson Reed might just show up in the Judgment Day and kick Finn out. And like very few members are. I mean, Dom would be the only one from. Not even the original incarnation. One guy is in AEW, and the other two are just off fucking around. But like, it's the new. It'll be the new
roster.
It'll be the new Bullet Club.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of seems that's what it's
Don the same faces he used to give Damien. Like,
it's kind of become that in a little bit of a way where you kind of like switch these members in and out and kind of still be what it is.
Yeah,
WWE's always been teasing like Bullet Club incarnations or weird things that are kind of like Bullet Club but not Bullet Club.
You didn't like the Balor Club?
But you know, I mean, even felt like the Undisputed Era for a time in NXT was kind of like trying to be a Bullet Club type thing, and you know, this now has become kind of like a Bullet Club offshoot, and you know, maybe that's a reason why they keep it around, because like they know they can have it in their back pocket for some bigger thing later on, as a stable that could be an enforcement stable, for somebody else down the road. I don't know. You know, there's got to be motivations to keep the Judgment Day a lot around this long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've outlasted
They
almost.
need
They
merch.
pretty much outlasted the Bloodline. Yeah, they need to sell merch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm still on the side. And by the way, this is a stable I had no interest in when they first started it with Edge, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, you know, Rhea Ripley and Damian at the beginning there, but I'm not. Yeah, it felt like just another boring thing. I like when things kind of skew into the direction of slightly comedic with these type of things. So I'm okay where they're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only liked it for its use in switching up people's characters. You know,
Mhm.
you enjoy it and
Yeah.
you're automatically a heel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And kind of that
But
reset.
when Gable came out and Finn, I like the whole thing of Finn purposely getting caught by the referee and being like, "What? Oh,"
Mm-hmm.
and like that's a great gimmick. And then Gable came out and had the weighted mask, the piece of metal in the mask, and then I think that's ultimately going to lead to the Lucha Bros becoming a tag team to
Yeah.
fight the evils of racism and bad tattoos.
I'm not going to be surprised if like this leads to a match between Penta and El Grande Americano at that AAA show at
Oh yeah.
in a
Yeah.
month.
Worlds Collide.
Shout out to them
Yeah.
re-signing Alberto Del Rio.
Which would be hilarious. Yeah, which would be hilarious if like at the AAA show, one of the matches is them putting in El Grande Americano at the AAA show. But
Go
you
away,
know,
Heat.
which would be, I guess, I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Embarrassing.
That it would be funny, but there's definitely a bigger story to tell here between Penta and El Gran Americano, which could be interesting. But Dom, I'm curious to see where Dom now goes with this Intercontinental title. Penta's out of the way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's the next, you know, feud for him? Because obviously it doesn't look like Braun Breaker's going to come back for the IC title.
Greener
And
pastures.
so, you know, maybe
I vote it's Finn.
there's
Hmm?
maybe it is
I vote
Finn.
it's Finn. Finally do it.
Yeah, that's why I was saying like when Bronson Reed comes back, he just beats up Finn, and then that could be a feud for the IC belt.
Maybe Finn's in play for Money in the Bank. You know, I don't know,
Ooh.
because
sorry, before we move on to the next match, I had the Michael Cole said Dominic's ward outfit is a
Psychosis
was
inspired.
yeah, Psychosis inspired,
Mhm.
and they were just like not the WCW Psychosis, who was awesome and masked, but
Yeah.
the Mexico Psychosis, the ones that the guys used to come in with the three Mexican guys used to come in riding on the lawnmower.
Yep.
With with the lawn care outfits, and they're like awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, Psychosis. The WCW Psychosis was really cool.
Yeah.
They had a really good a couple of good matches of Rey Mysterio. I was talking to Matty P about that yesterday. It was like they had a really good handle on those Lucha, La Parca, Psychosis, and Ray, obviously Conan, and there was a couple others, Juventud Guerrero, Eddie Guerrero. They had, and they just couldn't figure that side of the coin out on the WWF side at the time. But
come out on lawnmower. It's not going to be racist.
Right.
There's no way I could be racist. I pay people to do things. There's no way I could be racist.
Right. Oh, but this yeah, so this match was what, third of the night. This show was like really ripping along here.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5
Yeah.
match card.
And then,
So-
well, I mean, the next match was. It's weird to say. I think it was the most anticipated match, even though they really set it up. Like, this is the only one that's actually had a proper setup
Mhm.
of the match.
This is the one that felt like had like a traditional build. Like, this guy attacked this guy did this thing, this guy challenged, and then we have a feud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we have a feud.
Coincidentally, it's like an announcer who has the show on ESPN and the former world champion, but that notwithstanding, I can't say I hated the match.
No,
No, good
was
match.
like
Yeah. I
Pat
hated the finish,
McAfee,
but we get into Pat and Gunther. Oh.
yeah, that's what we're talking about.
This is only to give Gunther something to do.
This is getting him ready for the Goldberg match. Because he needs to say like Goldberg needs one
Gunther
more.
is a very interesting case
Isn't he
because they
best?
have really created. It's not his fault necessarily because he's so good, but they've created a wrestler or a character that almost needs a title at all times. And when he doesn't have a title,
Yeah.
he's going to end up in weird fucking feuds and situations like the one we just saw him, or what you just said. Like, what people are saying is that he might end up in a Goldberg feud of all feuds randomly this summer. Like, it's like either this guy is world champion or he's feuding in strange fucking matches with guys like Pat McAfee or Goldberg, and there's like no in between.
Oh,
It's the Charlotte Flair situation where they've only writ her character. I need a championship belt.
Right.
And then
It
you're
is
like,
kind of like that. Yeah.
well, you don't have a championship belt. Well, shit.
Right.
And that's the character.
Right.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah. It's very odd. And I don't know if that's like gonna hurt him in the long run. Like, if you look at him for like an 8 to 10 year career, like he's gonna have to build some sort of. And every wrestler eventually has like different dimensions. Like, will he have a face turn eventually? Will he become a little more comedic down the line? Like, so I don't know what the Gunther longevity is here. But anyway, we could just talk about this match. I thought it was entertaining.
Mhm.
Pat McAfee, he didn't do like the high flying spots that he had done like in the previous matches.
Because he
Granted,
bounced
those
jumping over the
matches-
rope.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
He bounced jumping over the rope. He couldn't do it because he can't do it.
In his
he did the backflip.
in his
and
defense,
then-
also, he was wearing like the tightest jeans like in the world last night for some reason.
And the Jordan
don't-
11s are not great for athletic.
It's Jordan,
stuff.
yeah. Like, and I feel like in those other matches, he was wearing more like athletic gear. So I don't know what,
True.
like, if you're wearing like skinny jeans, like, I don't expect you to be doing high flying spots. So, that was kind of strange. But also maybe, those matches too are also 4 or 5 years ago. So maybe, with age, he's just kind of like, he's not Shane McMahon.
Yes.
Because if
But-
he was, he would just blow out a quad.
Right. But it served its purpose. Gunther definitely helped him out, carried him through the match. Pat had his spots. Thought it was funny. Michael Cole like standing up and doing
The
a
whole
couple
time.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Gunther kind of like winning the match and then kind of like giving them a salute as he left.
Yeah. Like, look, you're still standing. Good for you.
Right. And then kind of left. But again, it's like, I don't know what this match does for anybody. And it's like, is it awkward? Like, now when those guys have to call a Gunther match, hey, this is the guy who beat the shit out of us last month.
Yes. Probably.
Here
Yeah.
he comes. It's
Yeah.
kind of weird. And I don't know where Gunther goes from here. Does Gunther get in the Money in the Bank match? Does Gunther end up in the Goldberg feud? How fast does that happen?
I think that's a
Um,
SummerSlam thing
right.
because
So that's
we're
still
close to
God.
SummerSlam,
right.
very
We're
close
still
to SummerSlam.
right. We're
We
still
are, but I mean, how long does it
still
take for us
still
to get
ten.
there
We're
with
still
Goldberg?
eight. We're still like 8 weeks away or
Yeah,
9 weeks away. So
I can't take 8 weeks of Goldberg.
Oh no, you'll get 3 because like you'll get them contracted ones. Like it's not like John
Exactly.
Cena where he has
Mhm,
a certain amount of dates. It's
mhm.
like, hey, you're paying me $100,000 to show up on Raw, and then
Uh-huh.
$100,000 to show up on Raw, and another $100,000 to show up on Raw. Then I'm getting $500,000 for this match. That's how you're gonna get from Goldberg.
His entrance will be longer than the match.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think Gunther could bring him to a decent 9-minute match, but like,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when I saw when I saw this match on there, my brain does that thing where it automatically like associates words, and I was like McAfee, like the antivirus stuff, like the
Yeah.
antivirus software. And
Right.
then you guys know my feelings on Gunther.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yes.
just want to see him be made to submit. That's it. And he didn't do it this time, so I didn't care. I was like, all right. Didn't happen for me yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Gunther's pretty well paid, and he has a smoke show wife, so like, like his life is fine.
He's doing great. Good for him.
When is the last time that Goldberg had a match? Was it that one during
Yes.
the pandemic with Drew McIntyre?
I think there was one with. Yeah, I think it was during the pandemic. It wasn't with Drew. Was it with Drew McIntyre, or it might have been like 2021 or something. I think
Yes,
that was his
Apparently
last.
Roman Reigns in
Drew
2022.
at
Yeah. Okay.
Royal Rumble for the title.
Crystal just
Oh
said.
wait, no. Well, this is his last WWE match was Roman Reigns, WWE Elimination Chamber in 2022.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes. I wonder how long that was.
About if it's 2022, about 3 years ago.
And apparently he
That's
was okay with
right.
that being his last thing if it was.
Yeah,
He was like, this would be a good send off.
Elimination Chamber 2022. That was right. That was during the Vince McMahon era before we found out what he likes to do to women he pays for. But yeah, I feel like this is going to be the send
That
off.
was 6 minutes.
It's a 6-minute match.
6-minute match with Roman.
Okay, yeah, all right.
And the shortest of that event.
Hey,
Embarrassing. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know why you bringing Goldberg back because he can only, go for, but so many minutes. What's the point?
that's always
Poor
Goldberg's
Gunther.
thing because like Goldberg is the entrance and then doing the cool shit, and then that's really about it. Like, not to say he wasn't great at WCW because he was. Like,
Oh yeah.
he was the antithesis of Stone Cold. Like, Stone Cold was, well, I mean, after the Owen Hart thing, Stone Cold had to change his style and became more of a brawler. So, yeah, like
He was great in WCW, but it
He
was
is, yeah.
25 years ago.
well, I mean, when Tommy, when you were at the overly expensive Netflix Raw, who were the first 2 wrestlers you saw? The first, who were the people that came on screen?
The Rock and Triple H.
Yep, exactly. So just because something is 25 years ago doesn't mean like just because it was
That they won't use
they
it.
won't use it. Like,
Oh, of course they will.
yeah,
I'm saying he can't produce what he could produce because it was so long ago.
yeah. No. You're not like that's why you have Gunther there because Gunther just does everything impactful. Like he'll smack the shit out of you, he'll punch you, he'll clothesline you, he'll powerbomb you. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Oh God, but for a filler match.
But we'll see. Look, I mean, look, I'm not a Goldberg hater as much as most people are. There's something oddly fascinating and weirdly entertaining about him to me that I think is just hilarious. Like, I laugh a lot during these Goldberg matches. because they're like 3 minutes long and they're just funny. It's just so stupid and over the top. It's a weird fascination, though. I think Goldberg is hilarious. I don't think he's like intimidating or scary at all. I just think it's a hilarious fucking character. I also think it's hilarious. I know we're like in the TKO era, but like I think it's hilarious how like considering that he was not a Vince McMahon creation, how much Vince McMahon like embraced him and like merchandised the shit out of him and pushed him and used him.
He's just like,
It was almost like Vince McMahon wished he had him and then
Well-
tried to make up for it so much that he like overly used him, even in weird ways when he did have him.
so
It was like this is like the one that got away. And I thought that was like hilarious too.
Because initially when Vince McMahon was trying to sign Ric Flair, he wanted him to be like a Spartacus type character. So he's always had that in his head. So when he saw Goldberg in WCW, he was just like, "Oh, this is like a Roman gap," because that's what Goldberg is. He's just a gladiator.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Oh, I could just do the thing I always wanted to do with Ric Flair, but with this guy." And then he comes out, he's his entrance. It's all
Which is hilarious. Yeah, that's even more hilarious because the last thing I'm thinking of when I see Ric Flair is Roman Gladiator.
Exactly. Like he'll be at Caesar's palace and he'll be dressed like Caesar, but not for the reasons that you think.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so the Goldberg thing I think is hilarious. I actually think that if he does get in the ring with Gunther, there is something entertaining about that. And I do think in some warp like fantasy booking mind of mine, I do think if they run that feud, you have to get Bret Hart involved some way.
Again,
And close the loop on the Bret Hart Bill Goldberg feud of like 25 years.
Bret Hart helps him win.
Give some closure.
Like almost like Bret Hart needs to be like the special guest referee of that match.
He's like, "Well, I don't know
so
how this is
funny.
gonna go."
Right.
That would be fucking hilarious.
It's like the only other way it makes sense. Like you have to like, this is your last chance to like forever like close the book on that whole thing.
Yeah.
Whether these guys like each other or not, but it wouldn't be the first time ever or the last time in wrestling where two guys that didn't like each other and did business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like Triple H is like the kind of guy who could put Bret Hart and Goldberg in a room and say, "Listen, we're going to do something really interesting here." I know you guys don't like each other, but I got a couple $1,000,000 here from TKO. That says otherwise.
Exactly.
It's
I know
like,
you don't like each other. It has a new deck sound.
Right, exactly.
For some reason we just decided to squash it out. It's like, wait, did you cash a check? That doesn't matter. We just decided to talk it out, and it all works out.
Right, exactly. So yeah. So,
that match is good. I feel like the submission stuff towards the end was weird because we gotta understand Pat is a commentator. I don't like when wrestlers get them into submission holds because like I'm tapping as soon as it go. Like I'm a commentator. like Gunther is.
Why didn't he immediately tap? Why did he have
Yes,
to turn bloopers?
I don't. I hate that. Just don't get celebrities in submission holds. It doesn't make sense. Just beat the shit out of them like you were doing an entire match. Like you saw how red his chest was after that. Like so many people were excited because they hate Pat McAfee just getting smacked around by this big Osprey.
That was literally what is it? I think the New York Post had an article about it, and I think the headline was like, hold on, let me find it.
No
Oh,
way.
so TMZ talked about it. The New York TMZ talked about it.
Was it the New York? Was it the Post? Something like that. They had because I was looking at articles. Yes, New York Post. Literally, the New York Post.
I wanted to see Pat get choked out.
The New York Post has there, then it says Pat McAfee gets brutalized at WWE Backlash. My chest is burning. And all they have is this picture of him just like bright red. That's literally every single article. Just is all like, wow, this guy got his ass beat.
It's
For a
just
filler match, it was longer than it had any business being. Can we move on?
Yeah.
oh yeah, sure.
I hate Pat. I hate Pat, and it was okay to watch him get his ass beat.
Now,
Okay.
now speaking of this match,
Sorry.
for the next, let's talk about this match for the next 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Fuck away.
As a longtime Cena fan, I want to know what you think of what's going on. Because I didn't watch, so I was lapsed for a long time. For like
Okay.
2003 through maybe 2020, I had no idea what was going on. So anything
it.
that I've seen since then, I've only watched the big four pay-per-views and maybe a match or here or there that I should have watched. So I didn't get to really see everything play out the way it has. So what do you think of what's going on here?
I mean, I enjoy it. Like, I was very excited to see what happened, with him turning at Elimination Chamber, The Rock notwithstanding. I've been one who's been clamoring for the John Cena heel turn for a long time. I actually think it's a very inspired idea to run it here on his farewell tour. I think it's something that is unexpected and unique. I think that the idea of him being in a last run with the title, saying he's like going to take it with him and ruin wrestling, is actually pretty interesting. I know it's up for debate, but I think it only works if he actually follows through with it. Weirdly,
Yeah.
like if he actually, me and Matty P were actually talking about this too. Like after WrestleMania, where like it would be like hilarious if like he just ran through everybody this year and got to like that last pay-per-view or that last Raw of the year, like December, and like he's like literally like I beat everybody and he just left with the title.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like the Thanos snap in Avengers of like the WWE. Like he literally won and he took the title with him, and it kind of like
He
leaves
destroyed
them.
wrestling.
Yeah, and he kind of leaves them in a quandary of like, what do they do from here? And that title gets like retired forever. He kind of like lived up to what he said he was going to do, almost like cementing his GOAT status even more.
Yeah.
But we also thought it'd be super hilarious too if like they got to like that last show and like Triple H like called out everybody and was like, "You've all failed," and like was like, "I need somebody to take this motherfucker out like now." Like, like, or I'm gonna lose. Or I'm gonna lose. Yeah, I'm gonna lose my job if nobody beats this guy like tonight. Like, like the board of directors is gonna fire me if I don't have answers on why this guy took the title. Like, if this is all like some kayfabe storyline, like they like Ari Emanuel's calling me, asked me why our champion's leaving with the title, and I'm gonna get fired and. Like he's like crawling to like Cody Rhodes, being like, "I need you to beat him tonight." Like some stupid angle. Like, but I do think it is like I'm excited. I would be disappointed if they like ended it like in like 2 or 3 pay-per-views. Like I think the excitement is like how far they could push this deep into like the year where there's like 4 or 5 appearances left and he still has the title. And it's like, well, who the fuck is like going to beat this guy? But I do think like if somebody does have to beat him, it has to be Cody Rhodes because he has to like get his win back. Like, I think it would be really cheap if like Cody didn't get his win back, especially because you've set up Cody as like that top baby face. You can't have like, you can't have like Carmelo Hayes beat him. Like it's got to be like it's got to be like. It's got to be like, it's got to be the guy. Like, even if he gets like in a feud with CM Punk throughout the year, he's probably got to beat him. If he gets in a thing with like AJ Styles, he's going to have to beat him. I think there's like a run of people he could get into. Like
Right. All the hits.
obviously, all the hits. He's gonna do Randy. He'll probably do CM Punk. I think he'll get Roman Reigns at some point because he's never beat him, and then finally beat him.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, he's never.
I
Is
think.
Sheamus one of them?
I think.
One of his
What's that?
old, is Sheamus one of
Sheamus-
his old,
Sheamus is
rivals?
one. You know,
Yeah,
maybe
I
you can
think
do that one.
Sheamus is probably going to try to get the intercontinental because like that's been Sheamus' story for the past couple months.
Yeah, that should be him next.
Yeah.
I think hate to say it, but you're probably might get Logan Paul somewhere in there, just for the TV purposes.
Hey, Saturday night main event. It's him versus Jey Usos for the
Right.
belt,
So I think you're gonna get all these Cena matches. I wouldn't even be surprised if you get Rey Mysterio in there because they have some history from back in the day at some point.
Sure. If he pulls up.
And then eventually we're gonna get to the end, and then somehow Cody will get a match.
like you said,
I don't know.
Cody's in the middle of the woods chopping wood, and then Triple H comes is like, "We need your help. We have to get rid of John Cena." It's like, I don't do that anymore.
Right, exactly. And that also goes back to like how long they're going to keep Cody off TV because, like, I'm not clamoring for him back. I like Cody Rhodes a lot. I think he's great, and I thought he was a great champion. And the whole finish the story thing was one of the best things they've ever done. But I'm not like clamoring to get Cody back on TV like this week or next week, or if Cody didn't show up to like after SummerSlam, like I would be fine.
Yeah,
like I don't think that there's a reason to put him back into the rotation until like Cena vanquishes at least like 2 or 3 other people. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, we have to put him back in here to kind of show like this guy's around. Yeah. But I mean, I think everything's going kind of, could they have done some things better? Could the turn have been a Mania? Could the Rock thing was that a little funky? Was the Elimination Chamber thing kind of a little bit doesn't make sense? Like, who's he selling his soul out to if he wanted to turn heel the whole time? Like, sure, like, but wrestling always has like inconsistencies and weird kind of things that they retcon later on. So, not the first time a storyline has its weird things, but as far as but as far as last night goes, I thought this match was really fun. It was a very kind of like attitude era.
He's still doing the greatest hits, just a little differently.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
But I thought that this was one of their better matches for 2 guys that have wrestled a lot. The crowd was hot, and I thought that there was a lot of shenanigans, which often can lead to mixed results. But this is a 4.25 match. This is a very attitude era, ruthless aggression kind of style match that kind of carried its weight. Like it really, it was interesting because like Cena has been kind of like on this I'm going to ruin wrestling thing, and the match against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania was like very slow and like plodding, and I don't know if that was like an idea of like I'm gonna ruin wrestling by also having bad matches on purpose. And I'm being serious. Like if that was kind of like
people have fucking bent over backwards to explain why that match was the way it was. He said he's going to ruin wrestling. He's subverting everything you would expect out of this last event. You're explaining away a purposely boring main event.
Right. So I didn't know if that was like, but maybe like they were trying that, and then they kind of just said, no, we can't. This guy can't have shitty matches for like 9 months. You better fucking pick. You better start doing some good match. Like we cannot get in a slow and plodding match at Randy Orton now here at a Backlash pay-per-view.
Yeah. In his hometown.
And also Randy Orton himself is a very slow and plodding wrestler himself.
Yeah.
So I was very concerned that this match was going to be like a 18-minute slog, and like this was a hard-hitting, fast-paced, a very Vince McMahon. Every 6 like finishing moves all getting kicked out of all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody's finishing move is worth a shit. Like it doesn't
WrestleMania
matter.
X7.
Right. Table spots, and then another table spot because the one
Yeah.
table spot didn't work.
That was
You know,
hilarious.
it was a
Those new tables
very
are
like,
terrible.
yeah. Our Truth getting involved out of left field, like just random, I don't want to speak of who should not be spoken of, but it was like a very kind of like Vince McMahon like booked kind of like match. It was a very kind of like a hat on top of a hat on top of a hat sort of affair.
Yeah.
And but it worked on like every level. And I was very entertained. And then he's throwing RKO's at everybody. Like all the road agents are coming out, very like Stone Cold Steve Austin-esque, like where he would like give stunners to like all the Stooges and
Yeah.
all the guys. in
RKO
Vince
Fest.
McMahon. Right. Yeah. So it was an RKO fest. A lot of cool like throwbacks. So very cool, entertaining. I would say like I don't know if we need any follow up. Like this could end right here. Like this could just be it. Like I would not be surprised if like they don't even mention this match again. Randy Orton doesn't come out on SmackDown and say like, "Oh, this is bullshit. I want a rematch at Money in the Bank." Like they could just leave. They could leave this as a one-off, and this is it. And this is the last time these guys ever wrestled, and this was like just a perfectly fun affair. I do think it was kind of funny, and also leading into like I guess what I opened up with like Triple H. He didn't say Triple H by name unless I could be corrected here. But what did he say at the end when he got on the mic? I need challengers. Like he got on the mic and said,
that, yeah.
Which is kind of like the idea of like what I was saying, like I need competition or whatever. Like, this could be interesting. Like they literally could run this all the way to the end, like, and they can't find somebody to beat him. So I thought that kind of dovetailed into kind of what the future of this run could be. So all in all, I give it a good grade.
It's like I said, Cody Rhodes is going to be in the middle of the forest chopping wood, and Triple H is going to fly in on the TKO mobile.
TKO jet, yeah.
The TKO jet is like, Cody, we need you one more time.
Right.
And he's just like, I said I wasn't going to do it again. I don't know if I can do it. We believe in you, Cody. And it's like, all right, one more match.
Yeah, one more. Someone who's like only 40 still.
Right.
The dichotomy between like Cena's gear and demeanor versus the music and the graphics just like cracks me up. Like there was talk right after Elimination Chamber, like, oh man, Cena's a heel. It's totally different from what we we're seeing before. What is his presentation going to be? Is he going to come out in a suit like the way he does when he's working as a Hollywood actor? Like what is going to happen? Exactly. Like what is he going to do? The music? Is he going to do the run? Exactly. So they kept the clothes, they kept the jorts, they kept the towel thing, but he's not running. He's not doing any of that. He's very serious in his jorts and shirt. Shows the towel. Puts the towel down like neatly on the ring. The graphics are gone. It's just his name, just black with a spot, which reminds me of Hook. And he wears his belt backwards like an old man wearing a weight belt. It's like the same things that he did when he was face Cena, but with certain things that are turned off on purpose. It's fucking funny.
It is funny.
I like it. It works. It's like the same thing, but slightly different. It's like a yin yang kind of thing, or negatives, like negative film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mega Cena.
It's like this one will grow a goatee.
Goatee's the only thing he's missing.
So they did the greatest hits in that match. They did the AA into the RKO. They did. Beautiful. They I think Randy did multiple AAs. He did one on the table, and then he did one through the mini table that actually broke. and then R-Truth comes out for some reason. Then to send home everybody happy because of how the match ended, he just Randy RKO's every one of the former wrestlers.
Yes,
And,
everyone who comes out.
yeah, and it's hilarious. It's like if you were 12 years old and watching their first match or their first real big match in SummerSlam 2007, and then now it's 2025, you're just like, man, they've been feuding for forever.
Yeah,
Some
this is
Hatfields
like a
and the
20-year
McCoy shit, huh?
feud.
Hatfields and McCoys,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's like a 20-year feud.
Yeah.
A lifetime.
At a certain point, it's good to see those two guys, and like there had to have been like a lot of fuckery going on because they're both 40-year-old men, like late 40-year-old men. So like they're not getting up and down the way that they used to. So they're just
Yeah.
like, we need all of these unnecessary things. Like we need John Cena trying to go for a punt, even though they know they're not going to hit the punt. Like we just need all of these things to make this match. And
Yeah.
the match was fine. Like, it was just a main event match with two older men. Like they're not gonna. It's like when Floyd Mayweather.
They're not going to go crazy.
It's like when Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao finally fought. It's just like you guys are in your mid-30s. You're trying not to hurt themselves. You're not going to hurt yourselves. Like this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Like you're in your late 30s, early 40s. You are not going to go as hard as you need to go to win this match. You're just like, well, as long as I can get home. Like no, like this is a match that should have happened a decade ago, but she kept fucking around. That's all.
Yes.
Right.
I guess this is the first of that, of those hits that they're going to hit with Cena, and it's pretty interesting to kind of watch. That was the moment when it ended, and they ran their credits, and I was like, okay, no more shenanigans, nothing else is going to happen. That's the end, and that's when I fell asleep. Then I've been fighting it anyway because I'm old, and I remembered seeing Jacob there during the press conference because immediately the press conference went, and I was like, oh, they're putting him in front of people to talk like a normal person. That's great. And then I fell asleep again. And then later on, saw Cena sitting there doing his thing. And at that point, I was like, fuck it, it's over. And I closed my laptop and probably went to sleep. And then to wake up the next day and find that R-Truth came out again, and he put him through the conference room table.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Wrestlers are still
Like,
wrestlers.
I'm so tired of you trying to come out here and connect with me. I'm just gonna put you through this table. Is that the first time there's been like a spot at one of their press conferences?
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the when I saw that, it immediately reminded me of two things. There was one time that Chris and I went to a comic book convention, and the Young Bucks were there, and they did like a press conference, and it was like with SCU, and then at the end they had this whole wrestling spot where they were doing the Meltzer driver off the table, and they go through the table and all this other shit, and that was like one of those moments where I'm like, I'm really sorry I brought you to this. This is kind of embarrassing. It makes wrestling fans look bad. Then the other time, and it happens more often in like Stardom. Like, I mean, in New Japan it happens. Like they'll just beat the shit out of each other. But in Stardom, they have that really weird thing that they do where they'll pretend to fight at the press conference. They just grab each other's hair and talk to them, and it's like very like, you realize how sexual this looks?
Of course they do.
Like it's just it's a woman grabbing another woman, just like speaking to her. It's like,
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
and you're like,
I'm pretty sure that's the point.
but yeah, like very few times does that happen. Like it's like less action happens then, but yeah.
Anything else we want to touch on this weird episode?
R.I.P.
No,
to Sabu.
Yes.
Yeah, R.I.P. to Sabu.
Yeah.
Just wrestled. I think the last match he wrestled was in Vegas.
Yeah, he wrestled
Oh,
a
really?
barbed wire match
At least that we know about. Yeah, he wrestled that barbed wire match. I think at the
with Joey
Palms.
Janela.
With the
How long ago?
but
What's
I
up?
think it was a big WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
Really?
It's part of
Damn.
the
Yeah.
GCW series that
Oh,
was at the
wow.
Palms. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was like his retirement.
Yeah, I think it was like his retirement.
Life just retired him.
Life just
It was like
retired.
yeah. It was like one of those guys that like works until like they're 72 and then they die like 2 weeks
Right.
later.
Yeah. We just expire.
But yeah, hardcore
then-
legend.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it actually when he's got to be up there. I would imagine Abdullah the Butcher.
Mhm.
There's got to be a handful of guys, probably 5. Has there been somebody that has bladed more than Sabu?
Yeah.
Abdullah the Butcher is probably
Probably it.
number
Yeah.
one,
hmm
And he's still living.
Yeah.
and he's still alive. But like, I'm not saying that blading contributed to their death, but I was just thinking of like guys that like probably bladed more than anybody else in the history
Yeah.
of wrestling.
Either you got the Ric Flairs, you got
Sure.
like, all of those guys. Like Triple H tried to do it
Terry
in the 2000s. Terry Funk, yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
but when you think about like it's like John Moxley a couple years ago, where
Yeah.
like every
He's getting
match
up
would
there.
be-
He's getting up there where he's like blading every fucking time he walks in the ring.
But like the funny part is like he got wind that like he's doing it too much, and then there's like a year to 2 year span where he just didn't do it at all. But
Right.
well, he's just known for it now.
Yeah.
But Sabu was a great ECW wrestler. Great wrestler. He was fun.
He was entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just
New Jack is another one who bladed a lot.
yeah. Like just jumping through tables, doing the chair spot that never really worked. Like it was
Yeah.
it's crazy to think about, but RIP.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, good show. I like Backlash. It reminded me of like an old school, like in your house pay-per-view, like from the 90s.
Yes. There you go.
Like
It had
they're
that.
they're like these 5-match cards. The show was like less than 3 hours. You kind of got in and out of it.
Yeah.
And a hot crowd, very entertaining.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool.
Hmm.
All right.
I think strangely, they were all going to be good matches, but they were better matches than probably the whole would have expected.
Right.
Yeah. You want to tell the people where they can reach you, Tommy, if they want to see what's going on with you?
Yeah, they can just find me on Twitter, Tommy Extra Stout or X or whatever you call it, and the same handle on Instagram or what they call the other equivalent to that on what's
Blue
the
Sky.
one?
Correct.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah, I have that too. So yeah, and that's that. And then I'll you guys don't have me back, I'll come back. We could talk Money in the Bank or whatever. I'll be going to that show, so maybe I'll give you the on the ground perspective.
Oh, we love that. Where is it actually?
It's here.
It's in LA. It's in the Intuit
That's
Dome,
right.
the Clipper Arena.
Okay. Oh, that's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
That's inexpensive.
Is it as bad as Raw?
It will be, but I already got the tickets, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, those
Okay.
tickets are not cheap. I've
Yeah,
already
it's cheap.
looked them up.
Yeah.
For-
No, you
for,
just have to wait an hour before at this point.
For the ones that are like the second, like the mezzanine, the terrace, it's like $280 a person.
Yeah, you literally just have to wait.
And if you're on the floor, it's for 2 tickets. I think it's $5,000.
God
This
damn.
is not gonna
I
work.
wouldn't want to be on the floor anyway. I'm too short. That wouldn't work.
You know what? We did it once, and it is weird. I think I told you it was WrestleMania, and we were
Yeah.
on the floor. We weren't supposed to be there, but we were on the floor anyway.
No, we
I
had
told you-
floor tickets.
Oh, we did. We had floor tickets. Never mind. I'm stupid.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Tommy was there.
But like they had all these fucking chairs zip tied together. So like you were basically in whoever's lap was next to you. And I was like,
Yeah, they zip tie them.
I was like, I
Yeah,
don't
so you
like
don't
this.
Yeah, they
throw
zip
'em.
tie they zip tie the chairs together when you're on the floor, so it really doesn't offer you like flexibility. Well, me and my brother sat at the floor in this year's WrestleMania. We got there like really early enough. Me and my brother have done this so many times. We get there early enough and we just start breaking the fucking chair. Like
You gotta make it work for you, man.
right,
Yeah.
right. So we like separated like a bunch of the chairs in our row like before like anybody got there, so we could like
Honestly,
yeah.
the time that we went, so
These are like
funny.
pro tips.
The fucking parking situation. Remember that?
Don't
Oh
even
my
get me
God.
started.
He would be like, "What the fuck?"
Don't even get me started on that.
That
I
was
paid
insane.
$50
That's a good.
for good parking, and then they gave me
And-
the shit parking, and I got there an hour before.
No, I
So-
think
Because
that
they're
was
like,
the
"Yeah,
good
we don't know what
parking.
to tell you. There's just no parking." And we're like, "So why are you fucking selling it if you don't have enough spaces? Like, what are you doing?"
Money.
Yeah, I don't think there's any efficient way to get 100,000 people in and out of a stadium. Unfortunately,
No, there isn't.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah.
people that have that shit down pat is Disneyland. That's it. They
Yeah.
literally probably have an entire fucking team
Well-
of scientists figuring that shit out.
Probably not far away from having a WrestleMania at Disneyland.
Oh my God.
They could, honestly, you know where they could do. I know exactly where they could do it. There's a big empty space between the two parks that is like this huge like pavilion area without like anything. It's just empty. Just put that shit right there and film it. That's what they would do.
Goofy's throwing out tax. Mickey's just like
Literally, they would do it. If they think they could get money out of it, Disney will do it. Have Darth Vader show up and everything.
Oh
Mickey
man.
Splash.
The tie-ins to that would be fucking insane. God. The marketing. Okay.
All right.
Follow us on all the social medias. At YouTube, we are at Home Wrestling League. On Twitter, where I do still occasionally post our stuff, you're at _HWL. On Instagram, where I spend most of my time being crazy, at home_wrestling_league. I might call you an idiot there. I apologize in advance. And over at Blue Sky, we're also there at the HWL. You know how it works here? Just like the way it worked last night. It just ends and the credits roll and we're ruining wrestling.